If you like this video, if it helped you out, do me a favor, subscribe. That helps me out immensely. Don't cost you a penny. It's free, right? What else in this world is free? I wasn't going to do a video on changing the oil on my 2.2 liter Sonoma here, which is basically an S10, but in GMC clothing. But some of the stuff on this truck's in weird places. Like the dipstick is in the oil tube and the filter is hidden. So I'm just going to go over a quickie. It ain't going to be a long one. It's going to be, this is how you change your oil in your 2.2 Chevrolet engine. But let me show you where the filter is and where the dipstick is and where you put the oil and all that stuff. So there you go. It's going to be a quickie how-to video on changing your oil on a Chevrolet and or GMC 2.2 or Buick or whoever uses a 2.2. The reason I decided to do this video is because of this. This is the filter right here. See if I can get my finger out of the way. Nope, yeah, right here. This is the filter. It's hard to get my finger on it and show you at the same time. Yeah, here it is. This has got one of those little things you can grab onto. But that's the filter in there. It's kind of tucked in under this little guard here and hard to get to. So I figured I'd show you that. Thought that would be kind of important. The drain plug is easy. That's in the normal spot right here on the bottom of the oil pan, so that's an easy one. But when we get to putting the oil back in, we'll, that's going to be the weird stuff too, so hang on there. I don't know how much of this you're going to be able to see. We'll do our best to get you in here. If I can keep my head out of the way. Got my little miniature. Oh, somebody put this in pretty tight. There we go. Alright. I've just got a really tiny, oil filter wrench, just your basic everyday, but it's a stubby, so you don't have a lot if you don't have a lot of room. It's a pretty small one. I've got my drip pan under here. Probably get it up a little closer. Now, because it's tucked in there so far, they put there's a little bracket right here, or a little piece of plastic, and that redirects the oil when it drips out, so it doesn't get all over the frame. There we go. And as you can see, well, maybe you can't see, but that's a Fram. Don't want that in there. But yeah, you will see, well, what you might not be able to see is it's redirecting the oil back that way and dropping it into the pan on the other side of the frame rail so that you're not getting a bunch of oil on the frame. And I did a video on this truck when I first just bought it, which is a video probably just previous to this one. And it shows this oil here, and now I know why, because that's where the oil filter is. So this little bit of oil residue here isn't because the engine leaks, but because every time you change the oil, that's where it goes. So now I don't know. I could have done this kind of backwards because it might be easier to get to the oil filter from the other side, and I'll find that out in a minute. But before we do that, I want to show you something. You want to take your new filter and you want to fill it with oil. Now I'm using a pump can. So it's going to be a little bit different for me, but you would just fill it with the oil, just pour your oil in this way. So just always put oil in your filter before you put it installed. Now this one goes in sideways, so you're not going to be able to fill it up too much. Just a little bit. There we go. That's probably all I got. And then also take a little bit of the oil that you spill and put it on that O-ring. And then she's ready to install. I think it's fixing a storm, so I'm going to have to bring my cars in, but before then, I'm just going to go ahead and see if I can't get this in here. I'm going to spill a little oil. This is a real pain in the buttocks. You got to kind of feel for it. Well, here's the drain plug. on the oil pan. Showed you that earlier. You'll see a little bit of oil residue right here. That's from the oil filter. Now I did spill some out of that. I overfilled that oil filter just a tad. It's hard to gauge when you're filling it that way. Usually I fill it about halfway, but you'll still have a little bit leak out. But better to have some leak out than not to have any in there on startup. Anyhow, I'm going to loosen this up. Let the rest of the oil out. Watch that washer. See that washer coming off right there? There we go. There's a little washer right here. Just want to make sure you keep that intact. This one's got a magnet on it, and there's nothing on the magnet. That's a good sign. The oil's a little black. Doesn't look too bad. Stuff in the filter looked clean, which is a little scary, because if it's clean in the filter and black everywhere else, is it even getting through that filter? As you probably know, Fram filters don't have the best reputation. But I think that's ancient history, and that has all been solved and fixed. But I don't know for sure. I forget. I think they forgot to put the element in there or something back in the 70s or some craziness, and ever since then had a bad reputation. But I might just, I've got this one here. I may just cut that one apart and then find like a Wix or something, pull it apart, and see if there's any real difference. If there's not, maybe we can stop dissing on the poor Fram filters. But in the meantime, they still scare me. Better to be safe than sorry kind of thing. Like that whole Slick 50 stuff, you remember that? I put Slick 50 in 2 different race motors and they both blew. I ran no Slick 50 in other race motors and they never blew. So I don't use that either. I don't even know if it exists anymore, does it? But anyhow, while this is dripping, I figure I'll just chit-chat, you know what I mean? But all we're going to do is let that run. When it's done running, we'll put the plug back in, which is almost time, so I'd say that's probably good enough. I did notice that the fuel filter looks like it's about 300 years old. So we'll probably do a once-over on this truck eventually and put a new fuel filter and new distributor. Just, you don't want to over-tighten that, just kind of snug it. That's not, an oil pan is not something you want to strip out. That will be bad mojo. And just for the record, it's 15 millimeter. Alright, here's the other funky doodle with this particular vehicle is the dipstick. The dipstick and the filler tube, the filler is the same thing. It's kind of a good idea, really. Pull this out and there's your dipstick. But it's just a little weird. But I think it's fixing to storm again, so I am going to hurry up and get this oil in here. I thought I saw yuckies in there, but nope, looks good. So I'm just going to fill this up with oil, and we'll be done for the day. Well, that was super easy. There's an oil change on a 2.2 liter. Just fill her up with oil when you're done. I didn't measure how many quarts, I apologize, but you can call the auto parts store and they will tell you how many quarts it takes. It took 40, 50, 60, 70 pumps on my bucket. That helps. But anyway, I think it probably takes 4 to 5 quarts. But don't quote me on that. Call the auto parts store, check it, or check your manual, or go online. Online never is wrong, right? Anyway, just wanted to show you where that oil filter was and how to check, the dipstick, where the dipstick is. It's in the cap, right? That's weird. I've never seen one like that before. I've been doing this a long time. But super simple. If you like this video, if it helped you out, do me a favor, subscribe. That helps me out immensely. Don't cost you a penny. It's free, right? What else in this world is free? So if you enjoyed it, great. If it helped you, even better. So please subscribe, and wouldn't hurt to tell your friends about it either. And hit that like button. That strokes my ego a little bit. Makes me feel good, right? Thank you for watching. See ya!